Dear believers of this young AC Milan, is there a hope at the end of this horrible moments for Milan? There is a little bit of speranza, as we said in Italian, a little bit of hope. Is there a light at the end of this tunnel? What's gonna be? We're gonna know something, guys, in between the next few weeks, month maximum. We're gonna understand if we're gonna have banter area for more years to come, or we're gonna be able to get back in a few years, in 3 years, get back where pretty much where Paolo, since with the moment that Paolo Maldini left AC Milan. What is going to be is going to be crucial in the next weeks or month. And I will get to that point. I will tell you why it's so important the next weeks, month, because there are a lot of situations going on here. And let me be very, very, very clear. These are all is a big brainstorm video, okay? Because yesterday I wanted to make a video, but I was so frustrated for the finale of Coppa Italia, but also I was like, let me listen what he think. Let me listen this video. Let me read this article. I was trying to get all the comments, all the different different point of view. And guys, remember that I read all the comments all the time. So I keep in mind what you guys say, okay? Now, for this video, two parts. Part one, il campo, the sport part of Milan Club, the coach, the players, the renewals, and so on. Part two, the club, the management, the ownership, and so on. Let's start from part one. Let's talk about football. Freaking hell. This is what they should do. That's what they should do, the club. They should understand that they're not a fashion club, right? But they are a football club. Anyway, let's talk about let's talk about the football, about the coach, okay? I always said, you can check out all my previous video, that I was against a renewal of Conceição because I thought that he didn't change much this team. I know he didn't have much time, but I didn't see any single difference in from before and after Conceição. The reality, I don't see any before and after Pioli. Okay, I don't see any changes. Okay, actually, I think that appointing Conceição was literally placing gas over fire in the dressing room. You let the Capitano run away, you let your best midfielder Benasser go away, and because you didn't have any idea how to do Mercato because Conceição just arrived, you let do the winter Mercato to you gave everything of the Mercato, oh my god, winter Mercato to the agents of, for example, Mendes, that you took Joao Felix, which is a player that he doesn't deserve to wear the red and black. It's not the right style of player for Milan. He's always tricky, always trying to fight, always trying to play dirty, always on the ground, diving. Horrible player, not for AC Milan. Thank you so much. They bought players like Bondo and Sottil, that doesn't make any sense, and Walker with the hope that he will be a leader and try to get everyone together. Instead, he came here for drinking pina colada at the hotel in Milan. So the Mercato that wasn't made by Conceição, and I have to say this, but Conceição also had one of the best team that Milan had in the last few years, by names, okay? Of course, then the magic is to let them play well, but by single player, if we were playing FIFA, this Milan was really, really good. So technically, this Milan here, it is very good. Why I know that is very good? Because this year we didn't lose a derby. This year we won in Bernabeu. When this team wanted to play as a team, it was spectacular. And that is the biggest complaint that I have to whoever, both coach that managed this Milan. They had an incredible potential in their hands, but they couldn't do it. Numero uno, okay? Numero two, numero dos, the players. Now we need to talk about certain players because you have to imagine that Milan is not going to be playing in the Champions League next year. It's not going to be probably playing in any European competition. Things that OldHeart Rossonero wish at this time. Not playing in any European competition and start from zero. So this group of players, in my opinion, they were bought and they got also the aspirations and the earning of the money for a team that's supposed to earn money from the Champions League. Next year, you're not going to have this. So at least for 2 summers, Milan is not going to be playing Champions League. So that's why you have to refresh the team a little bit, try to understand who is a player that is going to be good for the Campionato, and maybe the players that are not very good in the Campionato, they are not very good. You're going to valorize the players that they give you a best when we play in the Campionato rather than the one that they play in Europe. Okay, so that's a skill, that's an ability that we need to understand who's going to be good, who doesn't have many injuries, who's going to be useful in different part of the team. And of course, we have a lot of deadwood to let go. Okay. Talking about the renewals of the players, Theo Hernandez, Maignan, and we want to also talk about TG Renders. Now, for Theo Hernandez and Maignan, guys, we have to understand that why they're not being renewed yet. In my opinion, that's my idea. The 2 players, they want to stay in Milan because they are coming from the season of Milan early than 2019 for Hernandez, but they are players that they grow a little bit of sense of Milanismo. Okay, they build their family in Milan, they have everything here, and they are fine. So probably they also want the renewal of the contract, but they need to be feel valorized by the club. The club has to say, you are our capitano, Maignan. You are one of the best goalkeeper in the world. You are one of the best left back in the world. You just need the right direction and so on. But we believe in you. We believe in you. That's why we would like to give you a great contract. This club doesn't do this kind of topic. This club doesn't face the oldest player in this way. They say, this is the contract that I'll give you. They read the contract and they say, this is not what I wanted. And the club, it doesn't say, let's deal. It says, this is the only offer that you want. This is the only offer that you're going to get. If you are not going to accept it, that is the door. You can leave. So, on the other hand, Theo Hernandez and Maignan and players that they want the renewal, they're like, but I want to stay here because I got my family, I got everything here. But also, you need to understand, guys, that players like Maignan and Theo Hernandez, they start to having a certain age. And especially for Theo, they understand that this might be the last big contract of their life. So they want to capitalize on that, okay? Also because of what they built in the last year to say, okay, the club trusts in me. I want to stay here longer. But if this is not happening, if this is not going to happen, it's not because I don't love Milan. It's not because I don't respect the fan. It's not because of that. But it's because I have also to look after myself. And as a professional, I'll give you my performance. I'll give you my love. I give you everything I can, but I will talk to other teams. And I fully understand them. I fully understand them. Instead, a smart club should, you know what you should do, right? You should do the renewal, try to talk along. Maybe they're not going to have, let's say, maybe they're not going to have the same minutes, especially Hernandez, because sometimes if you change coach, maybe you want to play with a different kind of defender, but still, you keep that player in the dressing room because he represents Milan. That's why. Then, talking about TG Renders, TG is slightly different because TG is not yet an OldHeart Rossonero. It's not yet a bandiere that he just won a Super Coppa for us. He won last. He came last year, and boom, his value went up. And apparently, both City and Real Madrid want the player. It is a hell of a player. It is a hell of a player, and in theory, the club should say, "Look, we just renew him. He's gonna be with us. We have a project. We're gonna keep this player, and with us, we're gonna be play Champions League, and you're gonna become the best midfielder in the world for the next 5 years." That should be the topic in the mind of a club that believe in their players. Instead, what they are going to see, they're gonna see how much we bought TG Renders. Let's call it 20 millions. Let's call it 20, okay? How much they are offering? 70. That means what? 50 million extra. How much we are not earning from the Champions League? How much we are not earning from the World Cup? These millions. Okay, you go. Thank you so much, TG Renders. See you next year. Because TG Renders is a player that has in his blood, has his own style. He's a player of Champions League. He cannot be playing one match a week against Torino, Chievo Verona, and Bologna. Let's be honest. He cannot. So, this is hard to say, guys, but this is the reality. It is very possible. I will not be surprised, especially after Tonali, let's be honest. After Tonali, I don't get emotion anymore, and I think that, they will sell TG Renders. Now, if you ask me, who will you rather sell? I will not rather sell anybody. Because these are all great players, and I'm sure that if we had an actual project, an actual planning, Milan will be TG, Mike, Theo, everyone will stay with us. This is our superstar. Nobody's talking about Leao because probably there are no offer yet, but I'm sure if there is an offer for Rafa, even though he belonged to Milan, he loves Milan. But also you have to understand that, again, same thing. This is going to be, especially for that role of left wing, if he doesn't win trophy in the next 2-3 years, goodbye. You're not top anymore. So that's the reality for a lot of our big players. And I already told you what my point of view. Who do I want as a coach next year? This is another things that I read in the comments that makes me sometimes laugh. Is like, if we get a new central defender and a good striker, everything will be fine. If we get Sarri, we get right wing, and somebody can change the midfield, we're gonna be fine. No. You can get Pep Guardiola, prime Messi and prime Ronaldo. But if there is not a project, if there is not a planning, if there is not a strategy, if there is not a connection in between the football club and the management, if there is nothing there, and actually they are going against each other, there is no future. There is no future. There is no future. Because this is why it is very important to connect yourself to the topic, to connect yourself to, brain farting. But this is how you plan. This is how you build a football club. Coach, players, coach, sport director, technical director, sport director, club. Okay? So, talking about the clubs, ladies and gentlemen, because that is going to be the main point here. This is going to be the main point of this video. The club. Because what we saw in Roma, we saw Ibrahimovic, we saw Scaroni, we saw Furlani, we saw Gordon Singer, owner of Elliott. Why is he there? Why is he there and non Cardinale? Cardinale is the 99.9% owner of Milan, right? But is he really the owner? Or is the owner because his daddy gave him the money on loan? The daddy, it's called Gordon Singer, president of Elliott. Okay? Now, here there are going to be two options, guys. Mainly there's going to be two options here. If they're going to keep the same team, or they're going to change slightly the team. And because Elliott cannot intervene over the management of Redbird, represented by Scaroni, Ibrahimovic, and probably Moncada. No, Moncada, I think Moncada is just Milan. Okay, 1, 2, 3. They could operate on their side. And who's on their side? Furlani. Now, Furlani got Milan, is the CEO of Milan since when? A couple of years. And mainly he took power, claim back power, and say, things are going to hell now with Redbird. Let me take the lead here. And since he took the lead, that Redbird was doing a lot of wrong things, but they were trying to do a lot of things. They were doing a lot of wrong things, but they were trying to do a lot of things, okay? The classic example is the sport director. Ibra and Cardinale talked to Tare in February. Moncada didn't like. He started to chat with Furlani, with, come si chiama? Paratici, D'Amico, D'Aversa, again Tare, and still nowadays we don't have a sport director. So it's very indecisive. Not only because of that, because he, as Boban said, he cannot separate the value of Milan from his work. And because he doesn't know much about football, he wants to be a football manager. He wants to be a football... he wants to leave the impression of, I know what I'm doing, to his daddy, because his daddy, Gordon Singer, gave him the job of CEO of Milan. Oh, let's be honest, yeah? Okay. So he wants to show to his daddy that he's able to do his work. But the point is very indecisive. The point is he doesn't know about football, and he's making a lot of mistakes. And for this reason, there might be a chance that Furlani can get fired, leaving the new position to a new CEO for Milan that is going to surround himself with people that knows about football. Because the main things for me, Furlani, here is not about you're not good, you're bad. But you need to realize that if you are not good in the specific of football, you need to surround yourself with people that knows a lot about football. But if you forget about the core business, which is AC Milan is a football team, Associazione Calcio Milan, it is a football team. So you need to surround yourself with people that knows about football. Because if the core business is start to having problem, for 2 summers we are not going to have the Champions League spot. Right now, also remember this, that right now, in this moment, in this season, the technical level of Milan is not that far from the technical level of Inter. What is the difference? The Inter is on the top 2 teams, probably the top team of Europe. Milan is down here. But on a technical levels, players by players, you can play at the same level as Inter when you want. What is the difference? The difference that Inter has not only technical player, but has a solid coach with ideas, a winning group since years that develop la fame, the hunger of victories. You have a hell of a sport director, which is Marotta, and everything is working in the same direction of victory. It took years to build this, but now they are winning. That's the difference. So my point here, what it is, to wrap up this very long video, my point here is, right now the team, even if you sell a couple of great players, okay, the difference, the gap in between you and the top is not that much. If you play smartly, start to plan smartly, and surrounding your club with people that knows about football, and you have a plan, sport director is going to choose the coach is gonna decide the mercato, and we plan for the next season, you can next year reach the top 4. You can reach the top 4. And then next year, you're back in Champions League. You still have you probably want to win the Campionato. You probably want to win certain things. But we are back, baby. If nobody will pay from this situation, there's not going to be a moment where the boss sit down behind the desk and say, okay, kids, what's the result this year? With this, with that, we are 9th, we are not going to Champions League, the team is losing value, the players are losing value, the fans are upset, blah, blah, blah. Okay, perfect. Let's stay like this. If this is going to be the situation, get ready. Because you think you're so bad, you think you saw the worst of Milan, we are going downhill. And then next year, other players are going to leave. You completely burn everything that is about Milanismo, burn everything is about the tradition of, if there is anything left, whatever, of the club, and then you will never start again, because you are fine to be 9th and losing the finale of Coppa Italia. And that's it. And get ready for real banter from there. Real banter, because the good players, they're going to leave. Of course, they're going to leave. We're going to be with some players that, they come, they go, the Joao Felix, the Bondo, the Sotil, the Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and so on. The Musa. Anyway. So is there a hope? That's the question. There is an actual hope at the end of this? We are going to understand. We're going to see in the next weeks or the next month what is going to happen. I don't think there's going to be new ownership coming in now, because the value of Milan is too low. The projection of the value of Milan is too low. And Redbird is going to stay in Milan until they're going to know if we're going to do the San Siro or not. In the moment they understand that we are not doing the San Siro, they don't have anything else to do in Milano, and they're going to say goodbye, they're going to sell it. So, we will see, ladies and gentlemen. Forza al diavolo, sempre. Sempre forza Milan, cazzo.